disappointing first Test match. He's on strike now. There are 3 slips, and he's struck on the pad. It's an appeal for leg before wicket. It was surely heading down the leg side. He's given him.
But it was a big wicket to get one with a new ball, especially when at the other end you've got one of the best spinners around in world cricket today, Mark Nicholas.
Now Dom Sibley goes down on the sweep. It's going to be taken at short leg.
Well, they've gone for a review.
Walking off.
He's walking off. He's had enough.
Sibley knows that Sharing. Joe Ruta swept into the leg side. Top edge. Caught it. Short backward square leg. Ashwin takes the catch, and England are in deep, deep trouble.
Change of attack.
Oh, and that's taken by short leg. Dan Lawrence has pushed it to short leg, and he's gone for 9, and India's terrific morning continues with a 4th wicket. You don't want to go off and put the kettle on here, do you? You're going to miss something. Every single ball something's happening.
Ashwin once more tosses
That one up, and he's bowled Stokes.
Oh, Ben Stokes is furious with this.
Here's Ashwin. Beg your pardon. Almost did me. Mohammad Siraj into the attack for the first time. Right arm quick
Down the leg side, and he's taken.
Wow.
Oh my goodness me, what a catch. Rishabh Pant with his left hand.
Rishabh Pant, wow. Should we call him Superman?
Akshar Patel left arm round to the left-handy Moeen Ali. It's edged off the keeper's gloves, and Rahane takes the catch on the rebound at slip. Ashwin goes in, bowls that one straighter, clipped into the onside. Rohit Sharma takes the catch. England 106 for 8 as Stone goes for a single. And that is the score at tea. It is approaching 5-9 this Sunday morning. You are listening to TalkSport 2, and England are having a really tough time of it. 329 all out were India. Finally, this morning, they resumed the day 300 for 6. So England managed to take the final 4 wickets. It cost them 29 runs in the process. But in reply, England, well, ever since Rory Burns got out for a duck in the first over, they have found it very, very tough going. And as you just heard, 106 for 8 as Stone out the final ball before tea, as it turned out, as he clipped Ashwin to Rohit Sharma. Jack Leach has gone out to join Ben Foakes. They're about to face the first delivery. Ashwin is going to be bowling to Jack Leach. He pushes out on the offside, and Neil Manthorpe will take you through the first part of the evening session here on TalkSport 2.
Many thanks indeed, Macca. Yeah, so Ashwin is in looking for a 5th wicket, and forward comes Jack Leach playing defensively, steering it behind square on the offside, and there's no run. Ashwin bearing down on 400 Test wickets, and you certainly here's Ashwin once more, hits Leach on the pads, heading down the leg side. There's no run. You wouldn't bet against him. Well, I wouldn't bet, because I don't really know very much about it, but if you were a gambler, you wouldn't bet on him reaching 400 in this series. Here's Ashwin once more, and that's steered away behind square on the offside. I was about to say this Test match, he'd need another 9 more. Actually, you might not bet against.
Hang on a second. 50-50? So you're saying there's a chance?
There's still 12 wickets to take. Yeah, actually, you might not bet against him taking 9 of those 12. England 106 for 8.
You would certainly say he's got some chance of doing it in this series with 2 games to go after this. 4 innings. Pitches anything like this, he's going to pick up at least a couple of innings, you would suggest. And all he needs to do is bowl anything like he has done in this innings, and he's going to walk away with a few more than the couple.
Virat Kohli going with his 2 preferred spinners. Akshar Patel is going to bowl the first full over after tea. There were just 4 balls left in that one because a wicket fell. Here is Akshar Patel, bowls for Foakes, hits him on the pads, and oohs and ahs, but no genuine appeal.
You can tell the velocity he's bowling with Akshar Patel as it thud into the pad. You can hear it on the stump mat. There was a real doof. That's why it's been so difficult to play.
4 men around the bat as Patel is in once more, and this one hits Foakes on the pads again. I'm just trying to work out where he gets that pace from. I mean, again, he doesn't have an aggressive run up. He doesn't have a big pivot. There's no real body, and it's just all shoulder. And this one is squirted away off the outside edge towards Jinky Rahane. It slipped all the way along the ground, and they scamper through for a single. 107 for 8.
Well, he's a tall man, so all he's got to do is hold his left side back, so hold his left hip back and he's got like a catapult. And because he's got long levers, the hips snap, the arm comes through. He's generated a huge amount of force and torque through that body just from having long levers.
Yeah, he's very wispy, isn't he? And it's a very fluid action, but just very whippy as well as wispy. 107 for 8. Here he is once again, bounding to Jack Leach, back and across, pushes that behind square on the offside.
But it's also very economical, isn't it? It just repeats, and that's the art of spin bowling in some respects.
Here is Akshay Patel once more bowls. Leach forward, playing defensively out and off. No run. Jared Kimber was earlier describing him as kind of low-calorie Ravi Jadeja.
Would I say the budget or the Walmart Ravi Jadeja?
Back and across again, Jack Leach. He's a 3-in-1 cricketer, but just not as good as Jadeja in any of the departments.
It was definitely budget was the word, my
Budget.
friend.
Was it budget? I think
He's looked better than budget during this innings.
No. But when you're saying budget, you're saying budget compared to arguably the most valuable player in world cricket right now. There is no other player like Jadeja out there who is a proper frontline bowler and can be bat in the top 7. And he's like one of the world's leading
More
wicket
valuable than
takers.
Ben Stokes?
I think. Well, is Ben Stokes in the world's, say, best 10 batsmen?
Close.
Jadeja definitely isn't.
Is he in the best 10 bowlers, Jadeja? That's all I'm saying.
Not on every pitch around
He
the
can
world.
also
Certainly half the pitches, yes.
He can bowl more overs than Stokes. I think where Stokes has him is he can bat in the top 6, which I think is an advantage.
Here's Ashwin looking for that 5th wicket and a skiddy straight honour.
You're going algorithms on me here. I don't understand it all now.
Well, part of the problem with Stokes, because if you're a seamer, you can only bowl so many overs, whereas Jadeja can bowl all day.
Down the wicket comes Folks, pushing it back to the bowler, Ashwin, no run.
The last 3 years, Jadeja's averaged, I think, maybe high 30s, low 40s, so roughly around what Ben Stokes has averaged across his career. Now, he's done that at an easier batting position, a bit further down the order. But if that's the case, I mean, it's, I think if you're comparing them.
Ashwin round the wicket to Folks, who uses his feet nicely and drives a full-length ball, turning it into a full-length ball down to long on. Through for a single.
Bearing in mind, I'm the converted. I think Jadeja is a wonderful asset to any team. I'm not bagging that for a second.
Okay, so there's that concept in American sports called the redraftables, where they basically go back to old drafts and work out where people would be picked. If we were picking from 0 at the moment, you'd be looking at those 2 cricketers that we talked about, Stokes and Jadeja, and then probably Jason Holder, right on current form, would be not far away.
Ashwin once again forward to Jack Leach. He's gone back over the wicket, and that's pushed by Leach up towards mid-off.
I think because Jason Holder does not bat in the top 7 regularly and hasn't made runs in the top 7, he probably is just below Stokes and Jadeja.
Here is Ashwin once more, and Leach has played him well. Early days, of course, that's just his 9th ball, but he pushes it away defensively on the offside again, no run.
And I think that Stokes bowling 20 overs a game compared to Jadeja's 40 or 45 probably puts it. But, I mean, you could pick any of them.
Ashwin again to Leach forward, no run, 108 for 8.
I mean, that's the thing. We have 3 really good all-rounders in world cricket right now.
Yeah, we're splitting hairs between a Rolls Royce and a Lamborghini, aren't we? It's kind of whatever your preference.
Exactly. And, even someone like Chris Woakes, again, is a fantastic all-rounder. In another era, we'd be saying, and Ashwin's another one. 4 Test hundreds or whatever he has. There's a lot of very good all-round talent around at the moment. I just think that Jadeja is probably maybe slightly underrated, and I think he's actually got better over the last couple of years, and people maybe haven't noticed it because he hasn't done the sorts of things that Stokes has done, which is just the big stage events.
You include Shakib Al Hassan in that?
I did until he took himself out of cricket for a while.
Here is Akshay Patel, and steered a square of the wicket on the offside to cover point, no run.
I think that
Swiftly moving on.
he had some problems with the match fixing there for a little while, but I think that he was the best all-rounder in world cricket up until probably Stokes maybe took that away from him, and I think he was massively underrated. I don't think we rate...
Pushed away behind square on the leg side.
I don't think we rate spin bowling all-rounders the same way we do seam bowling all-rounders, whereas in actual fact they can do so much more work because they don't get as tired. Callis and Stokes both have basically a hard cap at about 20 overs a game, and they have to be that because they have to go out and bat.
Yeah, top 5. That's pushed nicely by folks wide of Ishant to mid-off, and they scramble through for a single. I think you'll find that Shakib's problem was keeping his mouth shut.
I mean, whatever his problems were, yeah.
When he should have been opening it and spilling some beans.
He had, weirdly on Shakib, he had come out before and told the ICC about instances where he'd been asked to fix. So this was, he really made a real error. He knew exactly what the process was and had followed it to the letter of the law before, and made a huge error in not reporting the approach.
Indeed. Many say that he has paid an insufficient price for his misdemeanour.
Well, Brendan McCullum didn't report his for 3 years and wasn't suspended at all.
Here is Akshat Patel. Now we are moving on. That's pushed away defensively by Jack Leach. I want to go back to a point that Matt Pryor was talking about before tea, and when, how do you, as a keeper, how do you pushed away defensively by Leach once again behind square on the offside? What do you have to do to be called a genuine all-rounder? Batsman, keeper, keeper, batsman. When do you become a genuine all-rounder? When do you become the Jacques Callis of wicket-keeper batting? Down the wicket comes Leach, and he's launched it over mid-off for 4. That came out of the blue. I was just thinking, what's Jack Leach's approach going to be, and he's told me. Oh, that's a super shot.
God, dances down the wicket. Beautiful footwork, gets to the pitch of the ball, hitting it from the rough. He's had a box side seat for Rishabh Pant, and he's just copied him. Beautiful shot, straight over the top, full flurry of the bat, straight down the ground. No apparent risk, 4 runs. Beautiful batting, Jack Leach.
And he's hit it about as well as he could. You don't associate Jack Leach with big hitting. Actually, Jared, how easy or difficult would it be to find out how many 6s Jack Leach has hit in his first-class career?
I can do that. I mean, Bats is holding up 0.
I thought, because that was a 1-bounce 4, and I haven't seen Jack Leach hit it as sweetly as that before.
Yeah, that was full throttle as well, I reckon.
Here is Ashwin again. Folks pushes it to mid-wicket. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Ben Folkes is a proper all-rounder, isn't he? Come on, let's confer that status.
Yes, listen, I think obviously he's still very early in his career, and he'll have to score.
Ashwin into Folkes, nudged out to short leg, no run.
Score some good runs, but I think from a keeper's perspective, I mean, I certainly used to challenge myself. Ultimately, you have to average 50 and drop everything. Quite the opposite. Drop nothing, catch everything.
Ashwin in outside the leg stump. Super sweep shot from Ben Folkes now. Makes good contact out of the rough to Mayank Agarwal, the substitute at deep square leg. 114 for 8.
It's very hard to do. I think for your genuine all-rounded, someone like a Callis, you got to look at, he would have got in any batting lineup without his bowling, and he would have got in any bowling lineup without his batting. Now that is as genuine an all-rounder as you're going to get. And I think for a wicket-keeper, you've got to say, right, okay, I've got to be respected for my wicket-keeping, sort of right in that top echelon, but also be able to bat in a top order for any team.
There's also the fact that Callis took 200 catches. It just brings tears to the eye.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
There's 4 men almost in a row on the offside here. Silly mid-off, silly point, gully and slip. They're almost in a row. A gentle semicircle as Jack Leach pushes forward to Ashwin. Steers it into the offside. 4 close catches on the offside. One of whom is Rohit Sharma, who's standing at gully. Here is Ashwin, and that's chipped up into the air and falls short of mid-off. That was in the air for quite some time. Just failed to reach the fielder.
Yeah, he's definitely happier to change his pace to Jack Leach. Tossing that one up, he's quite prepared to bowl it a little bit slower, get him driving.
Ashwin again to Jack Leach, who sweeps, I think. It was a slog sweep attempt, but makes no contact with it. That one spun a long way past the top edge, and Rishabh Pant fumbles it. Hello, Jared.
5 6s, Jack Leach, in his professional career, all in first-class cricket.
Really?
So he's hit more 6s in first-class cricket than he's played T20 games at the top level.
Can you find out how many of them were top-edged hooks?
3.
Okay.
Isn't it exciting to think we're only 1 wicket away from Jimmy Anderson coming out and reverse sweeping? Oh,
Or Stuart Broad.
well, it won't be a reverse sweep though with Stuart Broad. I've forgotten.
It'll be a slog sweep.
That's not as much fun, is it? I missed Jimmy's reverse sweep already.
Here's Akshar Patel, and forward comes Ben Folkes, pushing it to the man on the drive, Captain Virat Kohli, all the way along the ground. I think we had a little sweepstake about how long it would take Jimmy Anderson to play the reverse sweep in the first test, and he played it first ball. Patel in once more, beautifully played here by Ben Folkes, picks up the length almost immediately, knows that he can go deep into his crease, stands almost on the stumps, and it's only a single, but it's turned away to fine leg. It's just a really quality piece of batsmanship from Ben Folkes.
Yeah, it is. He's been impressive against the spinners, absolutely. A lot of control, clear game plan and sticking to it. And as you say, man, there's only a tick around the corner for one, but it's the way it's done. His presence at the crease is fantastic so far.
And Folkes moves on to 28, comfortably England's top scorer. Jack Leach prods forward to this one, nudges it straight back to the bowler. I was just wondering how long it would take Stuart Broad to play the slog sweep, because he plays it really well. I would dare to suggest that he plays it better than Jimmy Anderson plays the reverse sweep. Here is Akshar Patel, forward comes Jack Leach, pushes that straight back to the bowler again. 115 for 8.
Yeah, it's stark contrast. When you look at the number of balls Ben Folkes has had to face, 94 for his 28. It's played beautifully, that's not a criticism. He's had to face those balls. India have made him work very hard. All the guys that got runs for India, far higher strike rate. They've found runs a bit easier to come by.
Here is Patel in once more, steered away behind square on the offside. Well, before we ask Jared to give us a definitive number, because he's able to do this with his fancy software, how many full tosses can you recall Ashwin or Akshar Patel bowling so far in this innings? Can you remember one?
No, I can't remember one.
I can't remember one. Matt Pryor, can you remember one?
No, nowhere near.
They've used the pitch, haven't they? And why wouldn't you?
Not Mr. 50p coin.
Here is Akshar Patel, and Folkes plays defensively, this time from the crease. Doesn't move his feet either forward or back, but just drops it down, and Jack Leach actually calls him through for a quick single. He wasn't expecting that, but Leach was already into his running, and Folkes responded well. Jack Leach has got to clean his spectacles again. End of the 55th over, England 117 for 8.
I was having a little chuckle to myself about Matt's comment there, the 50p piece. I remember the old school spinners when you rock up as a 13, 14-year-old. They used to pull a hanky out of the pocket and say, "I tell you what, lad, if you can't hit this hanky, you're going to be rubbish." And they'd stick it on the pitch, stand at the bowler's end and say, "Right, hit that over and over again." You won't get near it to start off with. I remember watching, I'm not going to name him, I remember watching the chap the very next game in a first class game. His first 4 balls all got driven straight down the ground for 4. I was like, "Where's your handkerchief now, pal?"
The point about the 50p piece, here is Ashwin again, and that one strikes Folkes on the pads, and there's an ooh and an ah, but no appeal. The point about the 50p piece was that if you hit it, you could keep it, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, it was such a small target you couldn't see it, I would imagine. But it was in the right place. So Ben Folkes continue. Ashwin here. Full toss! There it is, right on cue, the first one. He was trying the carom ball, and it's just come out a bit quicker, and it's a leg stump full toss, which is pulled away by Ben Folkes for another single down towards deep backward square leg, and he moves up to 29. 30, actually. First England player to get into the 30s. And the total up to 118 for 8, with Jack Leach on 5, Ben Folkes on 30. As Ashwin forward comes Jack Leach, pushing defensively to silly point. Rishabh Pant's have a few salty things to say, a little bit of humorous perhaps sarcasm, but I don't think it's necessary really with Jack Leach at the crease, forward outside the off stump. I mean, if Rishabh Pant's that's left alone, if Rishabh Pant's saying he hasn't got a clue, if I was Jack Leach, I'd turn around and say, "You're absolutely right. It's not my job to have a clue." Here is Ashwin again, and tosses that one up. Leach comes forward and pushes it to silly point. It's I mean, he's not being distasteful at all. I just think it might be a wasted effort. There's a carrom ball, and it turns back in towards Jack Leach, who plays defensively, and there's no run.
That was the first full toss that the Indian spinners have bowled. They hadn't even really bowled anything that close. There was one that was maybe about a metre and a half outside the crease. But when you compare the pitch maps of the English spinners over the first 2 tests to the Indian spinners, there is no comparison over, especially length. Some of the lines, Dom Bess is quite good on line, but his length is all over the shop. He bowled more full balls and more short balls in the first test than any of the Indian spinners.
Well, R. Ashwin has now bowled 22 overs and Akshar Patel has bowled 19. 41 overs between them, 1 full toss. That is proper test match bowling. Jack Leach has 5, but it's Ben Foakes on strike now on 30. England 118 for 8. Quicker one from Akshar Patel. Most of them are quicker ones, but they're scampering through, sprinting. Wanted to come back for the second, but because of the excellent work from Kuldeep Yadav out in the deep, he's attacked the ball and got it in very, very quickly. It means that they couldn't come back for the second, and Ben Foakes moves on to 31 with that single, and England 119 for 8 in reply to India's 329. So theoretically, and that's all it is, they are still in follow-on territory, England. Here is Akshar Patel once more, and forward comes Leach, playing defensively out in the offside. There's just absolutely no reason whatsoever why India should enforce the follow-on. Here is Patel once more, forward comes Leach again, playing defensively, not the least of which is that they might, if they had to bat again, they'd be batting last. So it's just there's just no good reason to do it. Here is Akshar Patel once again, once more defended by Leach.
Akshar Patel taking a leaf out of Ashwin's book and just giving a little bit more flight, a little bit more guile, trying to challenge Jack Leach. We've already seen him run down the wicket and smack one over the top. He's saying, come on, let's have another look at that.
Akshar in again. Leach is actually playing really good defensive innings here, and again he's back and across nicely behind the line. He remains on 5, and England remain on 119 for 8. I might be wrong, Matt Pryor. Is there any reason at all why India might consider the follow-on?
No.
Down the leg side as flicked away. That's a super shot. Actually, he's got his line slightly wrong there, Akshar Patel, and Jack Leach has flicked him nicely. Fine leg glance for 4. Very... Well, oh, was it off the pad? Yes, it was. So actually buys. No pad involved.
It just hit that foot hole outside the leg stump. Pant never even went for it, and it ragged and spun down that leg side. Batter left it, keeper left it, picked it up from the picket fence.
That's
maybe a bit harsh on Pant. He did get across a little bit. I half expected him just staying where he was and just let it go.
Just give a not interested bowler.
Keep it on the stumps, pal.
But that's where Ben Foakes' brilliance comes to the fore. When you're taking the ball blind, in other words, you only get your first sight of it when it's just past the batsman's backside. It's that's extraordinarily difficult when there's uneven bounce around, and Foakes is almost eerily good. You think, how did he get his gloves in that position? Here is Ashwin again, and that is spinning viciously, hits the gloves of Ben Foakes, and is just past the leg slip or the backward short leg. Anticipation's one thing, Matt, but you don't know how it's going to bounce.
No, you don't, and that's the trickiest bit about it, because as you say, you've got to stay on the offside. You know the ball's going to end up going down the leg side, but you've got to keep your head on the offside, the right-hand side of a right-handed batsman, and try and get as much information as the ball bouncing on the offside, and then be very quick across, quick footwork to then go and fetch the ball.
Ashwin, and that one fizzes past the outside edge of Jack Leach's back. Can't be sure whether he's deliberately just held the line, just played the original line and allowed that.
I'm going to give him the credit. I reckon he has. I think he does that pretty well, Jack Leach.
So he's not beaten. He's just playing the line and letting the ball spin past the edge. Nice fielding here, driven by Leach into the covers, and a good diving stop from Akshar Patel.
Yeah, I think he plays for his stumps. He makes sure he doesn't get hit on the pad and the stumps, and if it spins, well, so be it.
4 close catches on the offside again as Leach drives this one from Ashwin straight back to the bowler. As I said earlier, there's a slip, a backward slip and a gully, let's call it, a silly point and a silly mid-off. Here's Ashwin again. Leach comes forward and steers this one behind square on the offside.
Bats, maybe you can help me out here. I always find it odd when bowlers bowl brilliantly. They get a team 8 down and then they suddenly change how they bowl to 10 and 11.
Here is Ashwin again, and Leach steers once more past gully to backward point. End of the over, 58 gone, 124 for 8, and as Gareth Barry answers that question, Mark Nicholas will take over the commentary.
Just seeing with Ashwin, my point is Ashwin's now bowling remarkably slower to Leach. So he's got 1 to 6, all sorts of trouble bowling quick. Leach is in and now he's bowling. Is there a reason for that?
I think he's trying to take the wicket and almost buy it a little bit more. The fact he's coming over the wicket, I think he wants to jaff him off with the carrom ball to take his fifer with the specky, the one that spins the other way, to send a signal and a whatever else you may try and put the cloud of mystery over your opposite number. But I think you're right, both of them. Axar as well has just taken that little bit of foot off the gas. It's just a bit more flight, a bit more guile, and it hasn't been quite as well. The questions are different. It's a different question to answer. So far, so good for Jack Leach, and in particular Ben Foakes, who's playing so well.
And at that moment we see Ishant Sharma warm up. He bowled pretty well with the new ball. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 15. Got Rory Burns LBW. Burns reviewed it, but it was just clipping leg stump. Very unlucky really, given all the angles. One of those that, had it been given not out and India had reviewed it, that of course would have gone the batsman's way. But it wasn't to be. Big beard these days for Ishant Sharma, tall, slim man, and a change of pace to the game here. Ben Foakes has played especially well, 32 from 99 balls, and Jack Leach 5 from 33 balls has played pretty well too. England 1-2-4 for 8 in response to India's 3-2-9. India were bowled out quickly this morning. The 4 wickets didn't take long for England, though there was some entertaining stroke play from Rishabh Pant, as is to be expected. Here we go then. Ishant Sharma to Ben Foakes. Crowd behind him, and a little bit of away drift, a sort of reverse swung away. It was very early swing from the hand. It wasn't, in fact, so much so that Foakes was able to go with it and followed it and hit it right out of the meat of the bat. England, Burns then LBW, Sharma no score. Dom Sibley caught Kohli bowled Ashwin 16. Dan Lawrence caught Shubman Gill bowled Ashwin 9. Joe Root caught Ashwin bowled Patel for 6. Ben Stokes bowled Ashwin 18. Ollie Pope but caught Pant bowled Mohammad Shiraz 22. That was one down the leg side. Ben Foakes unbeaten with 32. Moeen Ali caught Rahane bowled Patel 6. Ollie Stone caught Sharma bowled Ashwin 1. And that thick outside edge, that was a much better ball, straighter and swung later. And Foakes was rather caught on the crease, but played it okay with a thick outside edge, and it ran down to the sort of 4th slip. They've got the slips quite spread, the old bob each way formation, and he negotiates the ball pretty well. So England 1-2-4 for 8. At times batting has looked very difficult, and the pitch hasn't looked fit for purpose on the 2nd day, more like a 5th day pitch. And then you get a little stand like this, where, you know, Foakes, who's been in a long time, and who, in the case of Leach, we've seen great discipline, almost minimalism really. You know, it does look as if you can survive on it. The answer is you're going to get the odd magic ball, and you need to be lucky. It's a more difficult pitch than in the last Test match on this same ground for sure. Here's Ishant Sharma again, and that is the same thing, but this time it beats that floating slip fielder and gets 4 for Ben Foakes, who thoroughly deserves every bit of good fortune that come his way for the excellence and precision of this innings so far.
Yep, genuine reverse swing here. Ishant Sharma hiding the ball as he runs in as well. Has to hide which side he's holding, the rough side. Rough side on the inside, taking the ball away towards the slips. Catches the outside edge from Foakes, but goes straight down. Never a chance of a catch. Goes away for 4.
Yeah, the big improvement in Ishant Sharma's bowling is his length. he when he began, he was hugely promising and pretty quick, but he banged it into the surface a lot, and he had a back of a length tactic, I suppose, a natural length, and he beat the bat more often than perhaps he should. That's an in-swinger with the reverse method, and now there's a chase on for that floating fielder as it rushes towards the third man boundary, but Rohit will pull it up inside the rope. And a very good return from Rohit Sharma, who's so far the man of the match with his superb innings. There was a nice headline I saw somewhere: Rohit Sharma sprinkles perfection on a Chapakatana. And I know what that means. There was a sort of, certainly a sprinkling of excellence from Rohit Sharma, as a couple more added to the tally here for Ben Foakes, who's now on 39 with another one of those thick edges. 3 of them in a row now. 2 do outswingers, and then the in-swinger went a bit later, as is sometimes the case with reverse swing. So they got 3 on that occasion, I think, did they? Yes, because Jack Leach is going to be on strike, and Ishant's going to switch to bowl round the wicket at Leach. England have officially avoided the follow-on now, 131 for 8. I didn't make perhaps enough of that because there was no chance of India enforcing the follow-on. That just isn't the way of the modern game. Here's Sharma round the wicket. It's out. What a super catch by Rishant Pant, diving away to his left side. A lovely delivery from Ishant Sharma. Pitched it perfectly, swung it late. Nothing wrong with Jack Leach's forward prod, but the 2 Indians combining for a moment of cricketing spectacular.
Ishant Sharma back into business straight away. He's around the wicket to the left-handed Leach. Angles the ball in from that natural around the wicket angle, and then just that bit of reverse swing going away from Leach. Leach just playing a forward defensive, catching the outside edge. Rishabh Pant possibly making a bit more of it than required, but again a smart catch, a decent dive, not quite as spectacular as the one we saw earlier in the day, but still nonetheless a very nice catch from Rishabh Pant, and Jack Leach departs unfortunately for 5.
Gareth, we're in the entertainment business. That was a superb catch.
It was a very good catch, it just wasn't quite Superman status for me, that one.
Whereas the one before by Rishabh Pant definitely was. You can't deny him that.
Magnificent, the one before. I was on comms, I got a bit carried away. It was fantastic. Quite extraordinary, the one before.
What I would say is that when a quick bowler bowls round the wicket, you narrow your angle as the keeper. And therefore, if you're going to your left with an outside edge, you're going a bit further. I need support from Matt Pryor.
You are right. The other thing I'd add to it is, in fact, Jared and I spoke about it at lunch, on these wickets, keeper's been standing up to the spinners all this time. He's now gone back, but he won't be going that far back, so he'll still be close. So any edge you get, you're putting your technique under a huge amount of pressure. And that was a very, very sharp chance.
Unfortunately for Rishabh Pant, I'm judging it on the many years I saw you behind the stumps, and I know you would have just a little shimmy to the side, kept your Z position and caught it.
Boys. This is a much more important conversation. Stuart Broad at number 11 for England. He is better than that. He could... Anyway, number 11 it is. He's taken guard. I haven't been able to see the field, annoyingly. High score of 169 at Lord's against Pakistan. And Sharma has the common sense to pitch it up to Broad. A lot of sides go hard at him. He beats his outside edge. Excellent over from Ishant Sharma that struck. India needed that wicket. They were getting frustrated. 1-3-1 for 9. Your mate Broad at number 11. What will he have to say about that, Matthew Pryor?
Well, for all we know, he volunteered it. I think he was a fantastic batsman. Well, fantastic batsman. He did a great job for England a few years back, and he's a clean striker with the cricket ball. I remember really enjoying batting with him, where he'd take the attack to teams, and then he got that really nasty blow, short ball actually against India in England, and all his confidence went. And then obviously since then, Jared will be able to pick up the stats, but his average has fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, 144 Test matches, 3,346 runs at an average of just under 20. Go on, Goffey, I thought you were going to speak.
No, I was just laughing because
We all looked up at the replay, didn't we? There's the trouble with not doing it live at the ground. We were about to commentate on a replay that was being shown on television, but it was the falling of Leach's wicket, and
it was a great catch.
pictures
by the way,
have got us confused here. Here's Ashwin, bowls now. Second ball of the over, so we've somehow missed the first with that coverage. We apologise, please accept our apologies. And no runs came of it. Folks is on strike, still on 39, 131 for 9. Broad was the new batsman. Folks is back and he's found a space for 2. That's good placement. So Broad doesn't need protecting, but what England do need is more runs. So the more balls that Folks faces, the better.
exactly. And the way Ben Foakes has played has been excellent. I think both Indian keepers, they batted well. Obviously, Rishabh Pant for India and Ben Foakes for England have been excellent behind the stumps and with the bat so far in this game. So it's good to see.
A leg slip and a short leg for Ben Foakes, who really played well. He goes forward defensively and he's been exact in his shot selection. He's been clear in his footwork. His control of the bat has been, well, that of a top order batsman is the best you can say. Down the pitch he comes and drives to mid-on, who's back, so there's a single there. It's a difficult pitch. If you are just switching on and wondering why 13 wickets have already fallen today and there's plenty more play, it's because it's a difficult pitch to bat on. I wouldn't say it's impossible. You really need to know how to play spin for sure, and you need to have to accept the slings and arrows occasionally. 134 for 9, a deficit of 195, so England way behind the game. Stuart Broad now takes strike to R. Ashwin and sweeps and is bowled. A pretty horrible shot, if we're honest, for a man who has more to his batting than that. England are bowled out for 134.
Quite amazing, really, when you consider we're all fans of Broad with the bat. He can change a game. He's got good shots. He's got a good eye. But for some reason, batting at 11, he ends up playing like a number 11. Tried to sweep a ball that was too full from Ashwin. The genius that is Ashwin, a fantastic performer on home and abroad. And England are all out. Disastrous performance from England with a bat. And it's time now. 134 all out off just 59.5 overs, and I feel for Ben Foakes, because he showed us a way to play in these conditions. I think behind the stumps we saw him perform brilliantly for England, and then he's come out and batted with guts, determination, knowledge and a technique to face these top Indian spinners. So well done, Ben Foakes, but England, a disastrous innings indeed. 134 all out.
Yes, Ashwin raises the ball. When you say disastrous, as the players leave the field, the Indian dressing room and all its support staff stand to applaud. There's a lot of joy, a lot of smiles, and unsurprisingly, a great sense of confidence. You can't imagine the game being lost from here. Ashwin finished with 5 for 43 from 23 overs and 5 balls. 4 maidens in there, an economy rate of 1.8. That's how hard he was to work around the place. Ben Foakes finished with 42, and I've just run you through the card. Burns no score, Sibley 16, and we've just lost it off the TV screen. I'll just get you my card. Sibley 16, Lawrence 9, Root 6, Stokes 18, Pope 22, Foakes 42. Unbeaten, very good performance. 6 for Moeen Ali, 1 for Ollie Stone, 5 for Jack Leach, and Stuart Broad bowled by Ashwin for no score, looking to sweep. So it's 195 run advantage. When you say disastrous, Darren Gough, do you mean it was a disastrous batting performance and England have let themselves down, or it has led to a disastrous situation?
Well, everywhere you've just said. I think it wasn't a great batting performance. I think what's evident is, but we all agree on it, is but England didn't bowl as well as they can do yesterday. The spinners weren't at their very best. We can understand that situation with Moeen Ali not having played for such long periods. But they got probably about 100 too many, and then today we just lacked a way in which we were going to play. At times we had Ollie Pope who come in and looked busy at the crease, and he was trying to score, keep the scoreboard ticking. We've seen Ben Foakes play with guts and determination and make it hard for the Indian bowlers to get him out. But overall, I think it's been a poor batting display. Joe Root has done so well over in Asia over the past few weeks, and he swept really well. But today he just stood up on it a little bit, didn't he? Taller left-arm bowler bowling, got that extra bounce and top edge one. But a disappointing show really from England. I think realistically, if they'd have got to somewhere around the 200 mark, I think we'd have all said it was a pretty good display. But 134 all out, not good enough.
Yeah, it's interesting how we keep talking about yesterday, and it's sort of Moeen Ali we're pointing the finger at a lot, which we think's tough for him given the time he spent in isolation and the fact that he's had no cricket. But that was England's choice to play him. They had Dom Bess available. Jack Leach's figures were 2 for 78 from 26 overs, which amounts to a similar thing if you add the performance of Akshar Patel and Kuldeep Yadav together. I just think it's Ashwin is the gulf between Ashwin and Moeen Ali in the match so far, and Ashwin's bowled in even more spin-friendly conditions, is probably the gulf between the sides. If you then add in Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane, their competence on the surface and their ability to keep scoring, so that they got away from England a bit, took command of the game early, and that sort of explains it all. But
it's partnerships, isn't it? I think that's what it comes down to. So when you're talking about batters together at the crease, building a partnership and creating pressure, that's what it's about. And it's same with the spinners. You have to bowl as a partnership. Jack Leach didn't do anything wrong. I thought he bowled well. Jack Leach put the ball in the right areas, bowled a good pace, made it difficult for the batsmen to score. And I mean, batsmen that were in as well. Rohit Sharma played beautifully for his 161. But unfortunately for Moeen, and I'm not putting big blame on him, I just think he has been one of those where he's hardly played any cricket, whether he be in quarantine, whether he be in isolation, whether it be just not playing any cricket. Suddenly thrown into a test match and expected to put the ball in the right area time and time again on this sort of pitch. It was evident, wasn't it? But he wasn't quite at his best. And then, obviously, with the ball turning, which, let's say, it's not really changed that much from yesterday, has it? It was turning from ball 5 of the game.
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. Has it changed much from yesterday? Not a lot, no. Not a lot. And it's certainly the bounce hasn't got any more uneven, I wouldn't say.
So the difference is they probably got 100 too many on what they should have scored on this pitch, because it's not an easy pitch to bat on, by the way, but you can bat on it, but it's not an easy pitch.
Well, maybe not 100 too many, 75, I mean 250, not 229.
And then we're probably 75 runs short of what we should be getting in the first innings.
And then we'd be nearer parity. So you'd say 250 could be playing 200.
Yes, that would have been a fair reflection on what we've seen so far. And the difference,
or what we'd like to have seen.
And the difference between the two teams is India have got established spinners who perform, and England are still fighting. And we talked about it. Is belief in what we've got and belief in their own ability.
And also, there's a big difference, particularly for England spinners, when you're behind the game. You know, in the first test, they had a massive 500 score on the board, and that's a whole lot easier to bowl than when you're setting up the match and the pitch is flatter, and Rohit Sharma's playing particularly well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Rohit Sharma showed us how to play on these pitches, and Rahane as well. They played two totally different innings, by the way. Rohit was looking to attack and keep the scoreboard ticking, and Rahane were just looking to stay patient, play in his zones, wait for the bad ball, and both of them were great innings, weren't they, yesterday? Let's be honest about it. They played really, really well. And then Rishabh Pant today again showed us his tremendous talent and energy at the crease and what can be done. Use your feet, hit the ball down the ground, hit with the spin, and you can hit sixes and you can hit boundaries and put pressure on the opposition spinners then to perform. But then today we didn't really have that. We had nobody who could take the attack. Nobody's got the confidence against Ashwin, who can bowl. He's got so much variety. He's tall, he varies his pace, he varies his line, and he's got so many different deliveries.
How would Rishabh Pant play him?
Well, I'd like to see it.
He'd come down the pitch, wouldn't he?
It's happened in the IPL, so I'd love to actually see. But it's
flat in the IPL. The pitches aren't doing this. They're not taking dust out of the chunks out of the surface.
Well, he played Nathan Lyon all right, didn't he? I think Rishabh Pant played Nathan Lyon pretty well.
Very well.
I mean, what did he get in the series? He only got 7 or 8 wickets in the series, didn't he?
If that,
9, I think he got. He's one short of his milestone.
Yeah, but
isn't
I
he?
think after Adelaide, probably only 3 or something. Anyway, yeah, the point was he didn't
The
get
point
there.
is, but he's faced one of the best spinners in the world. And in Australia, it can turn in the second innings. Not like this as here, but it can turn in the second innings in Australia. That's why they've had so many good spinners over the years. So I would expect him to have a game plan, as we've seen, where if he bowls wide of off stump, he would leave it. If he bowls straighter and bowls onto the pitch, in the middle of the pitch, he uses his feet and it hits him down the ground. But you've got to be able to pick him and have the confidence to pick him to do that.
And what Ben Foakes did was he got himself in with good technique defensively, and he did use his feet a little bit to get nearer the ball and be able to get singles out to mid-on, but in general he found ways to work the ball, didn't he, into spaces. Got some thick edges, made those work, face of the bat, then a few to the leg side. He showed a great game awareness, I thought.
Well, he did, and when we talk about yesterday, and you talk about Graham Thorpe, right? Graham Thorpe would have played exactly that sort of innings. I'm not saying he'd have been successful every single time, but as a left-hander, he used to go in against the spin, realise he wasn't going to hit many boundaries, Mark, and he used to just find a way of just rotating the strike, getting ones, just use his feet a little bit, not coming down to hit 4s and 6s, but coming down just to get bat and ball, hit it into the gap and take a 1. And that's what Ben Foakes did really, really well. It was an excellent knock, and he's proven, but on these pitches, these turning pitches, but you've got to find your way to play against it, on the way you can score. And unfortunately for England, there's only 2 players. Listen, you've got to excuse Joe Root 1 innings. I mean, it was a sweep shot he went for, he got top edge, right? But the rest of them really fell short of a technique, except Ollie Pope, who were looking to cut the left-hander when he gradually dragged it down, because he bowls that taller bowler coming round down wide of the crease. He dragged it down with the pacey balls, and he looked for that cut shot. And you've just mentioned there Ben Foakes, the way he just nurdled it around for 1s and 2s. It was excellent.
Now, who's the highest wicket taker of left-handers in the history of Test match cricket? Goffey.
The highest wicket taker of
left-handers in the history of Test match cricket. Big name bowler, we all know him.
Shane Warne.
Shane Warne's up there. He's in the top 5.
Mullutharan then.
He's in the top 5 too.
Oh dear me.
I think I would have picked Murali straight away. I was shocked that it wasn't Murali.
Okay.
Kumble.
No, he's not in the top 5.
You're missing someone really obvious, mate.
No. Well, think of the quicks.
Ashwin.
Ashwin is the answer. He's gone to 200. He's taken 200 wickets that are left-handers.
Did I pick the top 5 though there by just guessing?
McGrath, Warne, Mullutharan and
Anderson, wasn't it?
And Jimmy Anderson, correct.
I think what
thought Broad would be up there as well.
Yeah,
left-handers.
I think what's surprising about that is how much cricket has changed. Murali probably didn't bowl to as many left-handers as Ashwin has. There's been a steady increase of left-handers over the last couple of years.
To be fair, Murray sometimes admitted he struggled against left-handers.
Well, what he didn't like, you see, was bowling round the wicket. Never felt comfortable.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he didn't get so many left-handers out. Malcolm Marshall didn't like bowling at left-handers, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
He could swing the ball both ways at 90 miles an hour.
Didn't feel so comfortable. So they're out in the middle. They've taken, or rather, Rohit Sharma's taken guard. Ollie Stone's just organising his socks, and he will take the new ball, brand new ball, in Ollie Stone's hand as he comes in, steams in now. Sharma is tucked in behind it and pushes a full-length ball to extra cover. England just with the 2 slips this time. They had 4 when the match begun. There's a gully and 3 in the cover ring. A pretty orthodox field, mid-on, mid-wicket, long leg.
Just a little bit of shape there from Ollie Stone. Bowled well the first innings, picked up 3 wickets, knocked over the last few. Pretty impressed with him, actually.
This is always hard now for the fielding side to lift spirits, try to make inroads. England have to. Back goes Sharma, works it to the leg side to mid-wicket, who's very straight, and there's no run. The key is to remember that you get a few blows in. You know, Rohit Sharma's a good example, riding high. You've got a test match to come in just over a week's time, or actually 10 days now from now. and you don't want him to have more runs under his belt. If you get him out cheaply, that sets him back. Even if you think you're likely to lose this one, you just want to get a few jabs in.
You're not kidding. I said so for Kohli as well. He's on a pair. Pujara, keep them down. You don't want them to be full of confidence going to back-to-back test matches after this one.
Left alone by Rohit Sharma, as it does just shape a bit out. Again, not massive swing. We saw a lovely over a short while back from Ishant Sharma that got Jack Leach out, and we saw the ball swinging that over, but in the reverse method. Of course, this is orthodox swing with the new ball.
Do you think England will start with Jack Leach with the new ball, or do you think Stuart Broad might get a ball? Be interesting to find out. He definitely seems to be backing Ollie Stone as his frontline seamer at this moment in time, when he's got number 2 ranked bowler in the world in his lineup.
Rohit waits and clips off his toes. There'll be 2 as the fielder runs round. Andrew McKenna has been waiting incredibly patiently to take over, and we've been wittering away, so I'll hand over to Macca.
Oh, sorry, Macca, I forgot.
You carry on, mate.
Yeah, just drifted onto the leg stump at Rohit Sharma. When you've got 161 to your name from the first innings, you're going to be full of confidence. You're not going to miss out on a way to score from a poor delivery from Ollie Stone.
England's 134, by the way, their 5th lowest total in Asia, and it's also their 2nd lowest first innings in Asia, and their 2nd lowest score in Chennai. Not a great time to pull that one out of the bag, leading 1-0, second game of this series. Here comes Stone once again. Rohit in behind this and just pushes it back down the pitch to the bowler. There's no run. India 2 without loss. 197 the lead, and so much time left in this game.
Yeah, with Pujara not being out in the field today, it'll be interesting. I think Virat Kohli might just pop up to number 3 in the batting lineup.
It's a good point. He never appeared at all. We were told he wasn't going to field at all today due to the blow he took on the hand yesterday. Stone is on the way past the umpire, and that is solidly off the middle of Rohit Sharma's back. That's an ominous looking sign for the England bowlers. He made 161 from 231 balls in the first innings, and this pitch is supposed to be deteriorating and more difficult to bat on, and that got down there quite quickly, and Rohit Sharma looked like he had all the time in the world as he paid a back foot punch to finish off that over. India 2 without loss, lead by 197 here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, showed us the maker's name, didn't he, there? Full face of the bat as he hit the ball back to Ollie Stone for no run, but solid shot from Rohit Sharma. And it looks like it is, Macca. It looks like it's going to be Jack Leach with the new ball, a tactic used by England. He always turns to Jack Leach.
Yep. Stuart Broad had Ollie Stone's hat on in the first over, with the old double hat routine, so I did think at that point it was it felt like it was going to be Jack Leach.
It's a strange one, the Stuart Broad situation. He's hardly bowled in the game, and he's turned to Ollie Stone before he has done Stuart Broad every single time. Taking the new ball, he's gone for Ollie Stone rather than Stuart Broad.
I wonder if Broad's maybe not feeling well.
It's strange though, isn't it? Like I say, he's ranked number 2 bowler in the world at this moment in time, and I think I said to Matt off air, I said, if this situation with the tail enders that we're in, there's no way we'd have gone to Archer before Anderson. Anderson would have took that ball and tried to knock over the tail, but he went for Stone, Joe Root, today, rather than Broad.
And Jack Leach batted above him as well. Here comes Leach then for his first ball of the second innings, and Shubman Gill is solidly forward, pushing it out into the offside, no run. I wonder if Stuart Broad's maybe not feeling the best. Anyway, there's a slip for Leach, short leg. Man on the extra cover shortish drive, and a close in mid-wicket for the ball that's clipped off the toes. Shubman Gill using the outside portion of the bat, guides this to a point, and there is no run. Shubman Gill got a 3-ball duck in the first innings. LBW to Ollie Stone. He's facing Jack Leach straight away in this innings. And from his third ball, he guides it to a point, no run.
I thought they'd have put a bit more pressure on Shubman Gill. He's on naught. Thought they'd have had another catcher in on the offside.
Jack Leach from the Paterberman gate end. Shubman Gill allows this one to go through to Ben Vokes, and there is no run. Didn't really take a huge amount from the surface. The hard, proud scene. Leach goes in. Shubman Gill's coming down the pitch and has carved this over backward point. That's a one-day shot. I'm not quite sure why he's pulled that one out the bag so early. Ollie Stone will chase after it, and they will take a couple. India 4 without loss.
Well, this is why it's going to be interesting to watch the way India try and play against England's spinners. Obviously they've got a huge lead, and they've got a lead of 199, so they're full of confidence.
Leach in once again. Shubman Gill pushes into the onside. Ollie Pope gets a hand on it at short leg, but can't stop it completely, and it will go to Dan Lawrence at mid-wicket. That will complete the second over. 4 without loss is the score here on TalkSport 2. Yeah, as we mentioned, that they're not going to declare. There's no point in declaring yet, so it's batting on. But I mean, really,
there's 3 days left.
Exactly. But out of interest, if you were India at this stage, how many are you thinking England can't chase it? I mean, we already
this
past
many,
that.
This
We're already
many,
past that.
but I don't think it's a case of that now. It's a case of you're just about running the opposition down. There's 3 days left, unless there's rain forecast, which I very much doubt it.
I don't think there is for the next month and a half.
Well, there you go. So they're going to bat until they're all out. Well, yeah, I would say they're going to be all out at some point tomorrow. But if they're going to be, it's going to be over 400, isn't it? It should be over 400
Absolutely.
that England are trying to chase on a pitch that's dusting.
Ollie Stone once again is going to be in, and he's outside of Rohit Sharma's off stump through to the keeper. Ben Folkes, no run.
In fact, if I were the England batsman, I'd be bringing a bucket and spare with them tomorrow, because they might as well go and play in it, because I can't see many runs on this pitch.
Well, we're not far from the beach in Chennai. There's apparently another one in the cricket ground as well. And India are in the pound seats. The crowd have been in and enjoying themselves so far, and they get a chance to see Rohit Sharma bat again. Ollie Stone is in. Rohit Sharma just plays with the flow of a bat up to mid-off, and there is no run.
It's good to see Ollie Stone actually getting some wickets, and I think it's always good competition. And I think we're talking about Woody, who comes into play obviously for England in test matches when they decide to rest Jofra Archer, but it's good to have a third quickie, put his name in the hat and put pressure on Archer to make sure he keeps performing, keep him on his toes. And Mark Wood, it's good to see.
About this time yesterday, Rohit Sharma was about 140 not out shortly after tea. He's 2 not outs today, and he's meeting this one solidly forward, playing it up to mid-off. 2 slips and a gully. England have at least started with a couple of grabbers in place, although as Goffey keeps saying, the chances of anyone actually getting caught out in the slips at the moment seem to be receding by the second. It'll be interesting to see how quickly England take out certainly the second slip and try and maybe go on the drive man.
We've actually seen a few caught by the keeper this game, haven't we? So a few more. Not as many bowled in LBW, except if you obviously bowl in off spin. Ashwin gets them always the way he bowls.
Stone is in, allowing that through is Rohit, and it's taken by Ben Folkes. Good height actually, it was round about sort of shoulder height there. Good pace, good carry. What's that? 142 kilometres?
Yeah, I actually think this pitch, amazingly, although it has actually carried better off the seamers. The ball's carried. I think the last pitch last week, the same stadium, was actually just keeping a little bit lower, wasn't it? This one's actually a better carry. So when it has been nicked, it carried to the keeper.
Yep, we've seen some really good work behind the stumps by the keepers. And Ben Folkes is getting down into his crouch, and he's watching Rohit Sharma pull this one into the leg side and over the leg side all the way for 6. Ollie Stone decided to test him out with the short ball. There are 2 men out on the leg side boundary, but they were spectators just like everyone else in the ground, and Rohit Sharma has played another glorious shot. He goes to 8, India 10 without loss.
It's never good, that, is it, as a fast bowler, where you run in quite early on in the innings and the batsman just rocks back and just eases it off his chest. A short ball straight into the fans, into the stadium. Never good, because you have that self-doubt then. Can I afford to bowl him another short one? Yes, I've got a man back, but he's hit that so well. I remember those days, used to bowl at Ricky Ponting or Greg Blewett, and they used to hit you for a 6 or a 4 so easily, as though you were bowling at 60 miles an hour, not 90 miles an hour.
So what's the comeback ball going to be? That ball's gone into the crowd. So
Well,
they've
the
had to sanitise it. So now Ollie Stone and Stuart Broad are working on the ball and having a quick discussion.
Well, the brave delivery is to give him another one with the man back. That's the brave delivery, but I would very much doubt it. I think he'll just go back to length. Joe Root would have told him, I think, length.
Well, let's see. Stands at the end of his mark. Does Ollie Stone, and now makes his way in past umpire Menon. That one it was around waist high, and he was playing it off the back foot, and it was in the air. It was out towards the cover fielder, but then in the end dropped about 3 yards short. So no run to complete the over. 3 gone of the Indian second innings, 10 without loss, so lead by 205, and this is Talk Sport 2.
I think what we've seen here, Macca, already is, but India obviously in a fantastic position, 205 runs ahead. They're not going to die wondering. I think Rohit Sharma's full of confidence. He's going to play his shots. It'd be interesting to see what it's like when they do bring Moeen Ali on and how they decide to play Moeen. Off spin, turning into the right-hander, the way Rohit decides to play. And we know Shubman Gill, we only have to see from his time in Australia and the test match, first test match, but what a shot player he is. So I'm expecting a few shots. And I'm excited about the play ahead. I really am.
It's going to be a tough old slog this for England. Jack Leach is going to be bowling to Shubman Gill. Gill, previous over from Jack Leach, had a little run at 1. He's got 2 from the 6 balls that he's faced. Slip and short leg for Jack Leach. Left arm around. And solidly forward is Shubman Gill, pushing to Rory Burns. Short extra cover, no run. Jack Leach gets back to his mark. Walks past umpire Menon. Spins a couple to himself. And now comes in, left arm around. Little puff of dust as the ball lands. But Shubman Gill is solidly pushing to Burns again, no run. Ben Folks encourages Jack Leach from behind the stumps, and he comes in, and again a little puff of dust on that one, but it's controlled by Shubman Gill. He takes the outside portion of the bat, but goes to point, no run.
I think what we will see is India will definitely try and use the feet to the spinners. Probably not so much against the left arm spin, turning away from the right-hander, but definitely against the off-spin.
Leach in, there's a silly point in place now. Now that ball was arcing in and takes Shubman Gill on the pad. It may have just about pitched in line with leg stump, but it would have to do an awful lot to get an LBW decision there. As a result, given not out, and England don't review it, and there's an inside edge on it as well, so it had even less going for it. Leach around the wicket, Gill back off the back foot, pushes up to Burns in the covers, and there's no run.
And it pitched outside leg stump, I think, as well, so in all ways it was not out.
It was one of those that the fielders are almost trying to disguise the fact. They make a lot of noise, but there's nothing there. This one, Shubman Gill comes down the pitch, and he's hit that high. He's not got it cleanly. It'll be a chase back for Joe Root, who collects it millimetres away from the boundary. But he's managed to haul it back in and sends it back on its way. Shubman Gill will get a couple for that one. I'm pretty sure they're going to have a look to make sure that Joe Root doesn't make any contact with the foam. But Shubman Gill went for it up and over the top, but got under it too much and therefore doesn't get the boundary. 12 without loss.
I think we've realised how they're going to play now, India. I said full of confidence, a huge lead, and they're just going to be positive. If they end up getting bowled out, say 150, I think it still puts England in an unbelievable difficult situation. But you've got a guy at the crease here, Rohit Sharma. Like I said, that first innings, and in his press conference he talked about how confident you've got to be against spin. You've always got to look to score. You can't just stay there in your crease and look to defend. You've got to know your way to attack the bowlers, and he definitely did that. And an interesting
passage of play I'm expecting here, because Moeen Ali comes into the attack and he's going to be bowling to Rohit Sharma. And India are 12 for none, and it's goodbye from me for now.
Cheers, Goffey. Matt Pryor moves in. So Moeen Ali is in deep conversation with Joe Root. I guess the first thing we're waiting to see is what is Moeen Ali's line of attack going to be? What would you be recommending, Matt?
I'd be bowling wide of off stump. The key thing for Moeen Ali is he knows where he needs to bowl. He knows the lines, the lengths. It's just making sure he bowls there in that area enough and consistently. And that's what I'd be looking at from Mo. And if I was Joe Root, saying to him, right, I just want you to work on this consistency, hit your lengths, get into your spell, build some pressure by bowling dot balls.
So 2 overs for Ollie Stone, 0 for 8, and Moeen replaces him. Slip and short leg. Rohit Sharma is in behind this one and has punched it through extra cover, and England do not have a sweeper out on the offside, and that is a boundary 4 from the first ball that Moeen Ali bowls. Minimum of fuss, and India go to 16 without loss.
And I know England are so far behind the game here, but it's actually really important for Leach and Moeen Ali to come out and bowl well here and get some rhythm. And this is what we did not see from the Indian spinners. Coming into spell, first ball, there were no looseners, and that is a rank long hop on a wicket that is doing all sorts. The pitch hasn't changed. That is just a freebie.
Moeen Ali is in, and that one does puff of dust. Grips a bit, takes Rohit on the pad. Ben Fox will come around and collect, and there's no run.
Akash Chopra said, as said earlier, that this wicket will do it for you. You've just got to put the ball in the right area enough times.
Moeen Ali is in. It's a straightish ball, swept by Rohit Sharma. It goes to Jack Leach at short fine leg. Single taken, 17 without loss. The lead now 212. Rohit Sharma getting a good stride down the pitch, taking that off round about middle and off stump. Said after day one, as he's watching from the non-striker's end, as Shubman Gill is beaten outside of off stump by Moeen Ali there. That one stayed straight and Gill is beaten. Yeah, Rohit Sharma was interviewed before play today actually by the TV company, and he said anything outside of off stump I just decided I was sweeping. Shubman Gill forward, taken on the pad. Ben Foakes bails out on the appeal there because he knows there's very little chance of that being given out. And Moeen Ali walks back to his mark for the final time of this over, the 5th of the Indian second innings. They're 17 without loss, and Shubman Gill is coming down the pitch to Moeen Ali and has put him over wide long on for 6. Moeen Ali's first over of this second innings has gone for 11, a 4 and a 6 and a single, and India, well, they're making mincemeat of the English spinners at the moment. It's 23 without loss here on TalkSport 2. Neil Manthorpe's going to pick up the ball by ball after more thoughts from Matt Pryor.
Yeah, and this is the value of being so far ahead of the game on a wicket like this. You can play attacking, positive cricket, throw caution to the wind. I mean, that isn't throwing caution to the wind. It's a fantastic cricket shot. Shubman Gill, a couple of strides down the wicket, picks it up over long on. But the Indian batsmen are going about it exactly the right way, putting pressure on these England spinners straight away. And England are going to have to find something. They're going to have to find a way.
Are you working out what that way will be, Matt?
I am at the moment. It's I mean, the first thing they need to do is try and find a way to build pressure and bowl dots, and if you're bowling a long hop and a full bunger every over, it's going to be very, very difficult. You know, okay, this test match, let's be honest, this test match might be gone, but very quickly you're into the next. And this is a huge series for both teams, so you want to find, England will want their spinners to find some form.
Just wondering whether it's actually possible to build pressure when you're starting with a deficit of 195 runs, and it's a genuine question.
No, that is a very fair point, absolutely. I mean, if you were to ask anyone, okay, what would you be prepared to chase on this wicket last innings, you'd probably say 150, 180. Well, India lead by 218 already. And so therefore their batsmen can play with that absolute freedom. and it will be very difficult.
Comes Jack Leach. Another over begins with Rohit playing defensively, and there's no run. 23 without loss. I'd just like to make a point about India using home ground advantage. There was a time, a very long, extended period of time in Test history, when here's Leach once again. Rohit plays a little lap sweep and plays it rather delicately as well. And he knew exactly where the gap is, and it's running away for 4. That's beautifully played. We talk a lot about Rohit's savagery and power, particularly in the one-day game, but we do forget that he's a deft touch as well, and that's just the gentlest of paddle sweeps for 4 runs. A super shot from the man who scored 161 of the most glorious runs in the first innings, and he's got 4 more there, and that takes him up to 17, and India up to 27 without loss. But there was a time when many people, particularly those on the receiving end of pitches like this one, used to say that it was narrow-minded, short-sighted and one-dimensional of India to prepare pitches that spun lavishly and gave them a massive home ground advantage, because people said they would never be able to travel abroad and win overseas on pitches that were... Forward comes Rohit now, and that one has, I don't know what it hit, but it's evaded Ben Folkes' glove, and it's come off his glove down to the boundary. Buys. Ben Folkes has conceded buys.
Never. Don't believe it.
It's just, I mean, of course it's turn and bounce, but that's normally meat and drink for the man with the softest gloves in the game. I thought there was a deflection off something, I must say. We're having a look at the replay now. It's the bounce that's done Ben Folkes there, isn't it? I think they were buys,
Yes,
Matt.
it's the bounce from that length as well. It's so full. That's really the difficulty in that take.
Well, here is Leach once again, very full, and this time it's pushed back, hits the stumps at the bowler's end. India 31 without loss with those buys. Anyway, my point being is that India have now started travelling overseas, and they've just won in Australia. Many people say they probably should have won in South Africa. They were very, very fortunate. South Africa prepared, well, lottery wickets in the same way that these ones are in many ways. Forward comes Rohit, pushing that one defensively out behind square on the offside. So the thing is, if India are travelling overseas, and they've got the seam attack now, which they never had before, and they can play on quick, bouncy, seaming pitches, and the batsmen have learnt to play on those pitches as well, as Leach is in once again to complete the over. 6 overs gone now, India 31 without loss. Actually, Akash Chopra is joining us at an opportune time. Akash, I don't know how much you just heard me talking about India maximising home advantage. People used to say that it was one-dimensional and short-sighted because they would never be able to travel overseas and win. Now that they have the pace attack, and they are travelling overseas and winning in Australia and almost winning in South Africa, and they've got the all-round squad now, why wouldn't you go back to maximising home ground advantage like this? Hello.
Hi. Yes, I was listening to the conversation. So you're right. Those were the times. There was a time when you needed the home advantage to really seize control and win matches at home as well. Yes, it did hamper your chances overseas, especially in Sena countries, as we call them, South Africa, England, New Zealand, Australia. But things are changing radically, drastically, even at home, to be honest.
Moeen Ali continues. Forward comes Shubman Gill, plays defensively, no run.
So it's not that we are preparing ranked turners. Just look at the first test match, 3 pitches away.
Yeah, good point. Here is Moeen Ali. The sweep shot from Shubman Gill. He's hit it very sweetly, but only as far as Jack Leach at backward square leg.
Of course, India didn't win the first test match, but it was the only first lost in last 35 odd test matches at home. And most games have not been on ranked turners. I remember this game. I remember a game against Australia that India lost.
Here is Moeen Ali again, and with the turn, Shubman Gill turns it round the corner to Jack Leach at backward square leg. They're through for a single. 33 without loss. Do carry on, Akash.
And that is when I think India actually learnt a lesson that do not prepare ranked turners, because it just evens the playing field. When you have an all-rounded attack or an all-rounded team, play on fair surfaces.
Here is Moeen once more, and that's nudged out towards mid-on and long on, and they go through for another single.
And this one actually is, I think, I'm just willing to play the devil's advocate. Same square, quick turnaround, 5-day test match first time. Sun beating down on 3 pitches next to the pitch that was used for the previous game. You couldn't have prepared anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, here's Moeen once more, and pushed away behind square on the leg side again for another single, and India move up to 34 without loss. Lead of 195 on first innings gives them an overall advantage of 230 runs. They're 35 without loss, so 230 ahead, all 10 wickets in hand, and 3 days to play in the game. Shubman Gill uses his feet and comes down to meet that one on a good length and defends it. 7 overs gone, India in complete and total control of this game. We welcome our listeners on Talk Sport, joining us here on Talk Sport 2, live and exclusive ball-by-ball commentary of England's entire tour of India. 5 T20 internationals to come and 3 one-day internationals as well. Just a reminder that, we've had 14 wickets fall in the day. India resuming at 300 for 6, bowled out for 329. England have been bowled out for 134, with R. Ashwin taking 5 for 43. A top score for England of 42 not out from Ben Foakes. Other than that, 22 from Ollie Pope, and not much else as England battled to control the Indian spinners and try and gain some sort of ascendancy. Rohit on 19 and Shubman Gill on 12. Akash Chopra has joined us again, and just talking about the pitch preparation and how this one has sat in the hot sun for 7 days. Here's forward comes Rohit, pushing this one out towards backward point. They've gone for the run, and that might be trouble. As I think did Rohit get back? I think he might have done. It's been referred to the third umpire, Anil Chowdhury. What did you think, Matt Pryor?
I think he's got back. Bit of confusion. Rohit called for the run. Shubman Gill sent him back. Obviously had to turn sharply and get back in his crease. Big dive to get back in, and we have a look now at the replay. Throw was just a bit high. That was the problem. The throw came into Foakes at about head height, so by the time he gathered the ball and got the ball onto the wicket, Sharma's managed to get back. Big dive from him, but he's well in.
It was Ollie Stone, wasn't it, at backward point? There was really sharp work from the fast bowler. Yeah, he's safely back in his ground. That bat was about a foot over the line by the time Ben Foakes managed to remove the bails, and India remain unscathed. Very good work from Ollie Stone. Really good stuff from him, keeping the Indian batsmen on their toes. Rohit Sharma remains 19, Shubman Gill is 12. Here is Jack Leach. Forward comes Rohit, pushing that one back up towards mid-off. I was going to ask Jared Kimber how much spin has been bowled historically here at Chipak at the Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai. Akash will have something to say on this, I'm sure, as well. But here is Leach once again. That's edged, and it's on the half volley to Ben Stokes at slip. Manages to get his hands down to it. And there's been some reaction, as there always is when there's a sharply turning pitch in India. People saying, oh, it's not fair contest between bat and ball. It's a slightly tired argument in mind, particularly because India have managed to win overseas now. But historically, Jared Kimber, I mean, Chennai's always favoured the spinners, hasn't it? Goes back a long way. We've got over half a century worth of evidence. There's Teal for leg before wicket here, bat and pad involved at the same time.
58% of deliveries ever bowled in first-class games have been by spinners at this particular stadium. So there's nothing here that's particularly unusual for Chennai. And just to put that in perspective, 22% of balls in county cricket are bowled by spinners. So it's almost 3 times as many deliveries.
Jack Leach in again, powerful sweep in front of square by Rohit,
out towards deep backward square leg. They go through for a single. So Akash Chopra, there must be an element, surely, of, if somebody says, oh, well, why don't you provide a pitch with what offers something to the seamers, a bit more pace, a bit more leave a bit more grass on it. There must be an element of the groundsman saying, well, I can't. It's the...
There is, you're right. Actually, you'll find some amount of help, I'm pretty sure, in the next game at Ahmedabad. Or if you go up north, Dharamshala, you'll find help for pacers. Not here in Chennai.
Jack Leach for the final ball of the over. 8 overs gone. India 36 without loss, in full command of this test match.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are very stark. For instance, in Somerset they call Taunton Cyderbad because it spins so much. The ECB actually fined them for producing a pitch that helped spinners so much, and they have 40% of their balls bowled by spin. So that is a pitch that spins so much more than a normal English pitch, and still it's nowhere near the level of a pitch like Chennai. And there are the top 6 ranked teams pitches in the world, all Sri Lankan, and one of them, the Air Force ground, is 80% spin is bowled. And just to show the stark difference in different parts of the world, spin at the Wacker averages 58 when poor spinners have to bowl at the Wacker. And then you go all the way down to somewhere like Sabina Park, which is known as a fast bowling haven, but last 10 years, spinners have been averaging 22 there. So, it's a completely different game than if people have just been watching a lot of English cricket, this is absolutely nothing like that. There's a lot of grounds like this around the world, and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh are probably worse than India when it comes to the percentage of spin.
I think just to add, one of the arguments here, again, I've seen a lot on social, win the toss, win the game. I'm not sure this wicket is like that, because it's done it from ball 1. And if England had won the toss, and if England had batted,
Moeen into Rohit, pushes to mid-wicket, Burns fields no run.
Would they have got 329? I think that's more the question. Would the Indian bowlers have allowed them to do that? Would the England batsmen have been good enough to do that on this surface? So then actually it does bring it into...
Oh, the mis-stumping. Yeah, it's gone through between bat and pad. Down the wicket comes Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, beg your pardon, looking to drive through the leg side. And that one has spun between bat and pad and bounced fiercely, well out of his ground, Rohit. And Ben Foakes, extraordinarily, he's let 4 byes go a moment ago. And he's missed a stumping chance there with Rohit on 20. Here is Moeen Ali again, bowls, hits him on the pad outside the line of off stump. Oh, well.
Yep, stumping chance gone. But I must say that's the miracle that's the miracle stumping that you work on in the training ground. Batsman down the wicket, long way down the wicket, I must say, so folks would have had a good view of it, but it's turned and bounced through the gate, going past leg stump.
Here is Moeen once again, sharp turn again. The other thing, Akash Chopra, is that it does amuse me when people say, well, why don't you just make a pitch that does this, or one that does that? And people tend to forget that pitch preparation is an art and not a precise science, and it's an organic thing, and sometimes you just can't make it do what you would like it to do. Here is Moeen again, forward comes right, no run.
I'm with you completely, not perfect science. You try your best to prepare a pitch that is good for cricket, and it is also suiting your strengths, but there's no perfect way of preparing a pitch, to be honest.
Here's Moeen, and that's chopped away behind square on the... Well, did he get some bat on that? I don't think he did. No, it's another bye. It's the uneven bounce is really doing for Ben Foakes now. And even when you're as good a glove man as Ben Foakes, a couple of errors and you just get a little bit on edge sometimes. Anyway, Rohit's on 20, Shubman Gill is 12, 37 without loss. Akash Chopra, Mark Nicholas is very keen to ask you a question. I don't know, is it?
Sure.
Are we due to change commentary now? I think we should, yes, because Mark's very keen. Oh, we don't know how long we've got you for, Akash, so here's Mark Nicholas.
Thanks, Akash. I'm really interested whether in India there's a feeling this is too much of a spinning pitch. Whether
there is.
There is,
Mark. Sorry to cut you short. But see, devil's advocate. The fact is, did the curator have enough time to prepare a different surface? And would India want a surface like that? India does not want. Honestly, this Indian team, with the quality that they have, the kind of game that they've played over the last 2-3 years, the only time India had actually asked for a rank turner was against Australia at Pune, and it backfired big time. Steve O'Keefe, I think he got about 12 or 14 wickets, and Steve Smith scored a century. India lost that game. Of course, went on to win the series, but that was a lesson that do not prepare a pitch that allows slightly inferior spinners, with no disrespect, to do better than what they're capable of on a decent surface. So this is not ideal. Yes, this is not an ideal test match pitch, but once in a while, in these extraordinary circumstances, you will find it. Same venue, 2 matches.
And so as Leach bowls now, and there's a forward defence from Rohit, I'm going to keep you going. So there was no sense that Virat was disappointed that the previous pitch in Chennai didn't spin enough.
See, he may have been slightly, because the ball also just came off. The seam was disintegrating too fast. But then you can't really blame the curator there.
Okay, that's down comes Rohit. He gets a thick edge to backward point. There's no run. It's an interesting point about the ball and the seam. There's been no problems with the ball this match.
Because of the red soil and the black soil, Mark, that's the difference. Red soil is far more abrasive.
And far redder, as we can see now from a wide shot if you're watching on television. But believe me, I can tell you on radio that the difference is stark. This pitch is Weetabix coloured, and the other one is really close to orange, strong burnt orange, I'd call it. Actually, it's about 2 or 3 pitches alongside it. Okay, so that's interesting. So it is a general view, because I just noticed a little bit on social media of some people suggesting the pitch is spinning too much, but then others saying, well, you go to England and it seems a lot, so no one, and swings a lot, no one grumbles then if it's grassy and a bit damp. There's no run there. It's to drop behind square, and sharp fielding from Ollie Stone.
We had an extended discussion, Gautam Gambhir and I, on Star Sports, here, the host broadcasters, and both of us were of the same opinion. It is doing a little too much. You don't want it to be this way, but is there a way to avoid it? Maybe not.
Oh, fascinating. Rohit drives, but it comes off the bottom of the bat, so it goes back to Jack Leach. Nothing for it. 37 for no wicket. I'm talking to Akash Chopra, the former Indian opening batsman, and now an expert, cricket expert in various guises in India. He knows more about the services than we do, as Leach gets one to spin, but it's left alone by Rohit Sharma, and it's 37 for no wicket. While I've got you, Akshar Patel bowled quicker, flatter, fired into the surface, really quite like Jadeja might have done.
Absolutely, and Jadeja must be itching wherever he is sitting and watching this game that he should have been here, because this is the kind of pace that you want, but unfortunately you can't really start bowling a lot faster, and I have sympathies for Jack Leach, because he's got an optimum pace. If you go too high, firstly you can't sustain that consistency for too long, and secondly you end up bowling too many bad balls.
Yeah, also height, if he's not a tall man. Moeen Ali's getting it to spin. That's blocked out onto the offside. He's not a tall man, so he has to bowl it up, whereas from their height they can really, it's easier for them to fire it into the pitch, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it makes a huge difference. Extra bounce, and 9 out of 10 balls are actually disturbing the surface now. Batting is getting tougher as we just observe. But then India still 37 without loss.
Exactly.
In 10 overs, England was 39 for 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to make a fuss about a pitch where one guy makes 160 and then in the second innings they're 37 for no wicket and he's still in. That's an attempted sweep. It goes high in the air, but it will clear deep backward square leg. Leach is the man out there who slides to save it just inside the boundary rope. A bit of fortune. And thank you to Akash, who's left us. Who's with me now? Matt, is it? Matt, are you with me? Yes, he's with me. Down to a t-shirt. The central heating's working in this room. Big guns showing on those beneath that t-shirt there. He looks every inch the man who pumps weights. Are you? Yeah, I think you are, aren't you?
Not enough.
Not enough? Oh, okay. I mean, a frightening thought that you could look even more powerful. Anyway, that's a big off-spinner pitching into the rough outside off stump, and Shubman Gill plays it well actually. Leads with his pad, has his bat just behind it, and is very gentle about his movement into the ball, and it hits the pad and lobs up on the pitch, not to the short leg. So it sort of lobs straight up rather than sideways, if that makes sense. Down he comes now, drives to Rory Burns at short mid-wicket, but there's no run from that. Shubman Gill has 14 from 24 balls. Rohit Sharma has 20 from 40 balls. And the score's 39 for no wicket. And down comes Shubman Gill again, and the ball turns again. This time he does get bat on it, and he pushes it back down the pitch. Just a little quiet period in the game. Test match cricket ebbs and flows. You need patience. Oh, and there you are, as if to break that quiet period. Shubman Gill goes on the reverse sweep. He misses it. Ben Foakes misses it. And Ben Stokes pulls it up just inside the boundary rope, though he hobbles a bit as he lets go of the throw, I have to say, which might be of some concern. Anyway, a few more added to the score. 42 for no wicket, and a lead of 237 after England were bowled out for 134. So India bowled out today for 329, England for 134, and now India 42 for no wicket.
Interesting time for Ben Foakes now as well. Batted brilliantly, kept fantastically first innings, batted beautifully as well. 40 odd not out. And he's just had I mean, keeping on this surface is not easy, but he's been challenged. Missed the stumping, tough stumping, of course. Showed he's human. Had a few byes go through, and it's how's he going to react to this? Is he going to stay relaxed? The challenge for a wicketkeeper on a surface like this is it starts playing tricks on your mind. You start expecting, is it going to stay low? You start preempting where the ball's going to go. You want to stay very relaxed, keep your energy in your legs, but your shoulders and your hands very, very relaxed and loose.
How much would the batting have taken out of him mentally?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a look, he's been on the pitch a long time now. It's hot, it's humid. How many balls did he face? Over 100 balls. 10-minute turnaround, get your keeping kit back on and straight back out there.
Yeah, he was out there a long time for sure.
Yeah.
You said that stumping would have been a miracle stumping and the result of all his work. Is that? Do you still think that? I think it would have been a very good stumping.
Good
I
stumping,
agree with that.
certainly not a miracle stumping, and at this level, it's a stumping you'd expect to take.
Oh, good. Okay, that was my feeling. Yeah. It's a very full ball from Jack Leach that's pushed back to him by Shubman Gill. Yeah, the annoying thing for him was actually he pulls those off 19 out of 20, I'd say, or certainly 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think my point was more it wasn't a completely regulation stump miss chance.
No, it spun a lot and bounced. Now that's very close to LBW. In fact, it's out LBW. Jack Leach has got his man. Forward goes Shubman Gill. It hits him on the pad, but because it held its line, it looks to me like it's going to go on and hit the stumps. He might well review it. What's Rohit saying? It's difficult to be sure. Yep, he's going to review it. Rohit's saying it could well have spun too much, perhaps. But it was a very confident appeal by England, and he looked to be in front of them all.
Review for leg
He
before,
did, yeah.
umpire has
So
given out.
very
Fair
close
delivery.
to regulation LBW, to be honest with you. I think Rohit was sort of gesturing that he thinks it might be sliding down the leg side, but wasn't so for me.
It's pad first. Just confirm with the ultra edge, please.
Ultra edge and next ultra edge.
Yeah, pad first. Ball tracking when ready.
Canva hop one and next hop one.
Pitching in line. Hitting in line. Hitting wickets. Go to the on-field umpire. Nathan, you're on screen. Stay with your call.
Yeah, the original decision then sticks. It's LBW, and really no question about it. Hitting Middleton leg about halfway up, and Shubman Gill goes. And there, in a nutshell, was how hard it is to bat against spin, because a number have ripped past his outside edge, and then one scurries quite low straight on and hits him on the pad, and you're a goner. It's trusting bounce and inconsistency of movement that's so very difficult, and one has sympathy for the batsman. But Shubman Gill is another wicket for Jack Leach, who's bowled well again. He's a solid pro, isn't he? He does the basics well. Taking a bit of time for Cheteshwar Pujara to put his gear on, but anyway, he's emerged from the pavilion.
Yeah, Jack Leach is a wholehearted cricketer, isn't he? Even when he came out to bat, I know we're talking about his bowling, but even when he came out to bat, you can see he's works on a method, works on a plan, and he gives it his all. You know, he's not just going to walk out, have a slog, and get out thinking, oh, it's not my job. He's always looking at how he can improve and how he can work something out, and it's the same. You know, same goes with his bowling. You know, he will have tried to learn a hell of a lot from the first innings and how he bowled. Spoken to Jeetan Patel, the spin coach, and try and put it into action this innings.
Yeah, Matt Pryor into his, well, not into his seat, but into his space comes Darren Goff. 237 the advantage for India. Here's Cheteshwar Pujara with his marvellous record, 6,220 runs, an average of 47.5. And his best scores against England at the venue that they're going to next, actually, Ahmedabad.
I tell you what, he didn't want to field, but he's obviously fit enough to bat. I think that tells the story. Coming out to bat, not fielded all day, but he can have a bat.
So his injury then was clear and sustained during play, is that right?
Yeah, it was a blow, wasn't it? So,
it was a blow,
yeah.
and therefore he doesn't have to wait till number 7 to bat. Yeah, that's right.
So not fit enough to field, but he can put a glove on and walk out to bat. I know plenty of players that used to like that.
Who would you charge with that?
Most cricketers don't like fielding, especially if they don't bowl. A lot of them. Loads of them.
Jack Leach then to bowl to Pujara. And he's forward. He doesn't let his pad get in the way. There's big difference there in technique between him and Shubman Gill. His bat comes out in front of his pad and he meets the ball with the full face of it.
It's a big plus, you're right, Mark, for England. I think Jack Leach has bowled really, really well this Test match so far.
Oh, that's a bit short. Just as you say that, isn't that annoying? Back goes Pujara and cuts it nicely through the offside without getting all of it. And he'll get 3 though.
Yeah, one bad ball doesn't mean he's bowled badly. I mean, he's just about got it right. We saw Patel from India get cut a few times by Ollie Pope today, and I thought he bowled well as well. But I think Jack Leach has found a bit of rhythm in this Test match. But he just needs a partner now who can consistently put some pressure on the Indian batsman, or else it's going to be a drag for the rest of the series.
Yeah. Leach again spinning the ball on his fingers. Let's go, and that's to Rohit Sharma. It just keeps a little low and hurries on to him. It didn't spin, and Rohit dropped his bat and body down to play the ball. They always are much harder to cope with those sort of balls than perhaps they look on TV or even if you're there watching live. But anyway, he's dealt with it. Now he goes back and he works it off his body, and they steal a quick single. A direct hit had a real problem, I think, for Pujara, but it wasn't a direct hit by I think it's Ollie Stone fielding there, and no, Ollie Pope, I mean. And anyway, Pujara made it safely, but it was a very tight run, I have to say. So already 3 for Pujara off that cut stroke. Ollie Pope, by the way, he played really well today. I thought he had command of his game out in the middle in these difficult conditions.
Yeah, I thought he looked a little bit jack in the box when he first went in there. A bit nervous, as I expected, when the ball's turning. He got 2 quality spinners bowling at him. But I agree, I think he found a way he wanted to play, and he was waiting for that shorter ball off the left arm spinner. And I agree with you, I thought he played really, really well today. Unlucky dismissal, really. Caught down the leg side.
Caught down the leg side off the quick bowler Mohammad Siraj. Superb catch from Rishabh Pant, throwing himself to his left, and then as he hit the ground, bouncing out and grabbing it at the second attempt. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Moeen Ali now. Oh, that's a good delivery, very good, perfect line and length, and the attempted sweep by Rohit Sharma was not equal to it. The ball lobs off out onto the offside to no avail to anybody.
But we saw that shot. He played it so well, didn't he, in the first innings, Rohit Sharma. I can understand why he's doing it. If Moeen Ali is going to bowl that attacking line outside of stump with the ball turning and bouncing, it's a good way of rotating the strike.
Hits him in the helmet, in the face visor, actually, and Moeen Ali gives him I don't know if that's an apology or not. He certainly needn't apologise for ripping it out of the rough. They're just checking out, but it certainly hit him you know, in the days before helmets, maybe you wouldn't sweep out of the rough like that when it's so wide of off stump, and you've got to collect it from so wide. There is risk involved.
Without a doubt, whenever there's rough and you start sweeping out of the footholds and there's rough area there, it's going to turn and bounce. And a ball, no matter, I mean, these guys, spinners balling at what, 45 miles an hour? Not slow, is it? A bit quicker. And you see Virat Kohli come in, he often bats against spin without a helmet. There's very few do that these days, but Virat is one of those guys who backs himself.
Do you know, I don't think if you're affiliated to the ECB, I don't think you're allowed to bat without a helmet.
No, you're not. But Virat Kohli does bat without an helmet.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Different rules.
Always comes out with his cap.
Yeah, well, as we know, litigation is a dangerous thing.
Can you imagine her telling Viv Richards to go put his helmet on?
No, I can't. I can't imagine.
Saying that, would you have ever thought Richard Richardson would have worn an helmet?
He did in the end, didn't he?
Yeah, well, Yorkshire playing with us, I couldn't believe it. None of us, because we all used to see him with the big maroon baggy cap on, and then suddenly he's there with an helmet.
Well, you played in the game when only 2 bouncers were allowed per over that season, and Malcolm Marshall got told by David Shepherd to stop bowling bouncers. Enough now, Mako, and Richie walked down and said, mowing bowls, it's left to look well. They appeal for LBW because they don't think a shot's been offered, and I don't either, really. I'm a great Rohit fan, but I think he's tucked his bat behind his pad, and I'll bet this is mighty close. If they can get a review here on the basis of a shot not being offered, it would be worth reviewing, because he's gone forward, he's kicked it away, and then he's tucked the bat in behind the pad. Fascinating. So England have reviewed it, I think. By the look of the umpire, Virender Sharma, he's looking up. Yep, original decision. No, yes. What's going on?
They've run out of time.
TV umpire to director. Review for leg before.
Okay.
Fair delivery. Batsman played the shot. Start with the front on, please. Spin vision when you're ready.
Oh, well.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, but he hasn't played a shot. But if the umpire's saying he has, he's definitely not out, because it's hit him outside the line.
Yeah, give me
So
ball tracking
there
when
we
you're
go.
ready. No need Reg. Just give me ball tracking.
Shot, is the shot offered? Not offered.
Umpire said offered. Yeah, you just give me ball tracking. No bat involved.
Why appeal if he said there's a bat?
Well, you can hear what they're saying. They're saying that the umpire in the middle says a shot was offered. So
Ball tracking.
he isn't going to be out.
Hawk 1.
Pitching outside, impact outside. Thank you. Go to the on-field. Virender, you're on a screen. Stay with your call. Impact is outside.
Well, I'll bet there was a misunderstanding. He's staying with his initial call. I would think Joe Root might go and see the umpires after play.
I think that's where he was laughing at the end, because he didn't realise, but he said there was a shot offered. So yeah, strange one that. Very strange.
You definitely wouldn't review that if a shot had been, if you knew a shot had been offered.
Definitely not.
Cracking off break, you know, it curves away and then spins back. That is exactly what you want from an off break.
Did we see the ball tracking? Do you think it would have hit?
I do actually, yeah. Midland leg.
Yeah,
High
I
up.
would have said more leg.
High up Midland leg, I reckon. I hope they show us it. And now Rohit Sharma does get a sweep, but not all that well, and the man behind square, Jack Leach, does the fielding, but there's a single in it for Rohit Sharma, who trots it rather. I think he's smiling, but he knows that he might have just got a bit lucky. I bet he doesn't play a defensive shot like that again. That is definitely not a shot. He's absolutely certain.
He got away with that one, didn't he?
He used his pad
Absolutely.
to kick it away.
Disguised it well. It's part of the art of batting, though, isn't it? Got done by the flight and the spin, and just stuck his bat there. Let's look as though I'm playing a shot.
Yeah, well, two famous Englishmen played Ramadan and Valentine like that for hours in a partnership in the 1950s, Peter May and Colin Cowdrey. But the law was changed. 147 for 1 then here, India, with a massive advantage over England, because they bowled them out cheaply for 134 today in tricky conditions. And again, another good ball from, he's really bowling well, by the way, Moeen Ali, landing it all in the right place, and Pujara making that look difficult. Bat and pad loops up square on the offside. There's no fielder there, though, so he's not troubled. The lead's 242, and the ball's spinning this much. But as I say, Moeen Ali, and then he bowls a full toss. The old commentator's curse.
Damn to us both there. Use the facilities, Moeen.
Yeah,
Use the facilities.
Nothing came from the full toss because he smashed it straight to one of two fielders on the drive at mid-wicket. Burns did the fielding. Burns with his back goes Pujara this time and tries to work a single by opening the blade of the bat, but it doesn't come off, and so there's no run. It's the end of the over. 22 for Rohit and 3 for Pujara, 47 for 1. A word from Goffey, and then it'll be Andrew McKenna.
Sorry, Goffey, just to jump in. I've just had a look. Second ball of the over was hitting the stumps on the BCCI's website.
Was it?
They've got Hawkeye up here. They've only just put it up, but they haven't shown it on the TV yet. But according to their website, that was hitting sort of the top of off and middle.
Off and middle? Dear me.
The ball before, the first ball of the over that hit Rohit Sharma in the head was an absolute monster, by the way. It just went up. So from a very similar spot on the pitch, one of them hit the top of the stumps and the other one hit the batsman on the head. They're basically the same ball off the pitch.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. But Moeen Ali, he's bowled that line. The quality of the attack is line for an off spinner, don't they, to the right-hander. But realistically, when you look at it, Ashwin bowls a lot straighter than Moeen.
Jack Leach then to bowl his 7th over. He's bowling to Rohit. He's going around the wicket, and Rohit coming forward, middle stump, pushing back down the pitch. No run. One close catcher in at the moment. That is Ben Stokes at slip. India's lead 242. Rohit Sharma still there, 22 not out from 46 balls. Leach goes in, he's playing a reverse, he's missed it. Now that must be roundabout off stump, and it's given out LBW. Rohit immediately reviews it, but Nitin Menon has raised the finger, and that's important because if it's umpire's call, it will stay with the decision.
I think he hit it. Fair delivery.
It was a quick.
Umpire has given out. Front on, please, when ready.
It was quick, wasn't it, from Rohit Sharma to review it. I think he believes he hit it. We'll soon find out.
We're watching the replay.
Oh,
was there an under edge?
Bottom edge, yeah. Yeah.
Give me ultras to double check it.
Well, umpire
close, yeah.
Umpire Goff in the commentary box has given it as an under edge. Anil Chowdhury, the third umpire, wants the technology to just prove that there was an under edge.
It looked like the seam position changed, so you could tell there was an edge.
There were some squiggles on the oscilloscope line, and then you get a clear, bigger spike, as it does indeed take an under edge. So that is overturned.
Yeah, go to the on-field umpire, please. Nitin, reverse your call. You can signal now.
Well, the last couple of minutes, the umpires have been busy. I'm still not sure how the standing umpire said Rohit Sharma was playing a shot at that LBW a few balls ago, but anyway, that's a moot point now. Jack Leach in to Rohit once again. That is a ball that he can flick off the leg stump out to the sweeper on the leg side. Takes a single. 48 for 1 are India now, trying to continue building their lead.
I think in this test match, I thought we did really well the first test, by the way. Obviously we won it, but on this one, that's been the difference between the two sides. When you look at the way India have kept finding a way to keep the scoreboard ticking along, and it's very hard for England, for all their bowlers, to put any sort of pressure on India.
Leach in again, and Pujara will kick this one away for no run. It just interestingly, Joe Root, after the LBW against Rohit was turned down, he went up and had a word with Virender Sharma, as if to say, how can you possibly have said that he was playing a shot there? Might just need to be careful, Joe Root. England have had a couple of things go against them in terms of DRS this game, but he doesn't want to attract match referee Javagal Srinath's attention too much on that one. Pujara forward, playing back down the pitch, no run.
Well, it was the strangest review, though, wasn't it? I mean, if he thought he played a shot, I don't think Joe would have reviewed that.
It's almost because you can't ask the umpire a question, can you? You can't say to him, are you saying he played a shot? Because that will determine whether you review or not. Pujara off the back foot, punching through points. Well, he doesn't seem to have a problem with that hand on that occasion. He goes away for 4, and the Indian 50 comes up. They're 52 for 1 after 14 overs here on TalkSport 2. The lead now 247.
Yeah, that looks to be Jack Leach's bad delivery at the minute. He's just dragging it down. The turn's allowing it to go even wider to the right-hander, and he's just cutting it away. We saw Ollie Pope playing that shot earlier on in the day for England. And now we've seen Pujara and Rohit waiting for that short ball from the left-arm spinner, turning away from the right-hander and just cutting it away for 4 runs.
We started the day, India 300 for 6. They're India now 52 for 1. India ended up 329 all out, then bundled England out for 134 in 1 ball short of 60 overs.
Well, you would say India would have been disappointed the way they played this morning, to lose those last 4 wickets.
Absolutely. Moeen is in once again. Rohit's coming down the pitch, pads it away, no run. I mean, there were a couple of ordinary deliveries that got wickets for a start.
Yeah, exactly. They would have been disappointed, but they would have been over the moon then with the way they bowled. To dismiss England for 134. And now they're back in the box seat again, batting.
Rohit is outside of off stump, trying to paddle sweep this one from Moeen Ali. Takes it on the front pad, and there is no run. No, absolutely. India did a cracking job with the ball. And that is why they are so far in front of this game. Moeen Ali is outside of off stump. Rohit comes down and then just no pretense whatsoever, just genuinely kicks that one away. Bat held high and takes his position back in his batting crease again.
Yeah, well bowled by Moeen. Did him on the flight a little bit, using his feet. Rohit Sharma, easily mistaken.
In goes Moeen Ali, and Rohit is sweeping hard out to Dom Sibley, the man sweeping out on the mid-wicket boundary. And they will take a single. Rohit goes to 24, 53 for 1.
Similar stances at the crease. Very difficult to tell apart. Different bat sponsor, the only difference.
Yeah.
But when you're watching on a TV screen, it's 10 yards away from you.
Moeen Ali goes in once again. Pujara down the pitch on this occasion, using his front pad to kick it away. And there's no run. But you know, maybe the biggest improvement that India made today from the first test, they bowled 1 ball short of 60 overs, but only bowled 1 no ball in the innings. Bearing in mind that they bowled 20 in the first match. That was a very, very big improvement from them. On this occasion, Moeen Ali to finish the over. It's outside of off stump. Pujara comes down the pitch and pads it away. 15 overs gone. There are still, where is it? It's a good few overs left in the day today. 3 left is where we're going. So we'll be round about on time today. So things are moving in the right direction there. But India 2:48 ahead here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, in a great position, India. Been a great day for them. As they started badly, we're losing those 4 wickets, but the way they bundled England out for 134, magnificent bowling from Ashwin, 5 for 43. Ishant Sharma cashed in with 2 for 22. And now 53 for 1 here on TalkSport 2. Pujara and Rohit Sharma at the crease, 2 very elegant players, totally different players. Pujara, the rock, likes to stay there, make it difficult to be dismissed. Rohit likes to attack the bowlers, whether it be seam or spin, and keep the scoreboard ticking along.
I can tell you, Indian TV have now finally replayed the Hawkeye of that Rohit Sharma LBW shout. They've just done it in between overs. That one is first ball of Leach's next over to turn to short fine leg, and there's no run.
I was right. It's crashing into the stumps. Yeah?
Yes, it's hitting middle 90% of the way up the stump.
They've got it on their website, but it's such a small little screen that you can't actually tell where it's always going.
Leach in. Rohit Sharma bends his knees to get a little bit lower as he cuts to Ollie Stone at backward point, and there's no run.
Yeah, middle of middle, and as I said, it bounced the exact same place that the ball that hit Rohit Sharma in the head. Yeah. So one's just jagged back into the middle of stump, and the other one into his head.
Leach in, Rohit using his feet to get to the pitch of that one, pushes up to mid-on, and there is no run as it's intercepted there. 53 for 1 it remains. 2.5 overs of the second day of this test match. We're in the third innings. India leading by 248. Leach goes in, and Rohit Sharma comes forward and then has his hands high as that one turns, bounces, spins away from his stumps and goes through to Ben Folkes behind the timbers. You can hear Folkes through the stump mic encouraging Leach, and he makes his way in once again. That's an absolute ripper. That's gone from middle, maybe middle and leg, past the outside edge. Folkes whips off the bails, and they are going to throw this one upstairs
Referral
just
for
to double
stopping. Fair
check.
delivery, get the best side on, please.
So
He's quick,
Rohit
isn't he?
Sharma.
Checking.
He's quick, isn't he?
Beautiful.
Folkesy.
Absolutely beautiful. It's just a brilliant delivery to start with.
Side on, please.
So we've seen it front on. Now we see it side on. Rohit drags the foot, drags, but I think there's still a toe behind that
Yeah.
line.
Can you zoom it further? Ground it to me.
The
Yeah.
bails are whipped off.
Just zoom it further, yeah.
Well, put it this way. That one I think is in. The one in the first innings was out. The one in the first innings was given
Stand by.
not out. And I think that one, they're going to zoom in on it.
Ground it. Keep rolling. Yeah. Okay. Go to the big screen. Ready?
But do you know what? From the camera on that side, it actually looks closer from the opposite side, and we didn't get an opposite side view of the one in the first innings. It actually looks...
Same result.
Yeah, it actually looks slightly different, but it is the same result. Not out is the call. And Jack Leach has one ball left of the over. Rohit remains 53 for 1. Right, 24 from 57 balls. Leach in. Little bit of air on that one. Rohit's coming towards that and actually turns it into a lowish full toss. I think we're due to be speaking with the England assistant coach Graham Thorpe at the close of play today. A man who was used to playing difficult and hard innings in difficult conditions on the subcontinent. I remember one incredible innings in Colombo a few years ago when England won. He batted twice in a day, completed 100 in the first innings and was there when England saw it through in the second. If there's a man within this England setup that might have a bit of a plan for them, Goffey, it might be your old mate and teammate Graham Thorpe.
Yeah, I talked about him earlier about having a way to play against spin. Didn't hit many boundaries, but he just knew how to keep rotating the strike and put the pressure on the bowler. It was awesome to watch. Like I said, most guys who destroy spin can come down and hit 4s and 6s, but he was 1 and 2s.
Moeen Ali comes in and Pujara comes down the pitch on that, clips it to stone at mid-on, and there was half a thought of a single there, and Rohit was no interest in that whatsoever and said no, get back. So Pujara remains 7 not out. Moeen Ali in once again, and Pujara again using his feet to that one. Bat and pad close together, and Ben Stokes, I think, is signalling to Joe Root about the possibility of putting in a silly point, because on that occasion, using his feet, he was certainly signalling something. Ben Stokes there. There is no field change. Short leg is still under the helmet on the leg side. That's a little bit short from Moeen Ali, and Pujara pushes back down the pitch, no run.
We've already seen a difference, haven't we, with the Indian batsmen. They look to use their feet to the spinner, especially the off spinner.
Moeen in once again, coming down the pitch. Pujara takes it on the front pad. It balloons up in the air and lands in the middle of the pitch, no run.
But the difference is they know Moeen's going to take it one way, into the right-hander, and I think with Ashwin there's always that uncertainty. He's got that many variations. Very, very difficult to play against, and that's why he's one of the best spinners in the world. His record tells you that.
Around the wicket for Moeen Ali. 2 catching mid-wickets for England in place. If Pujara flicks off of his toes, He plays it though out into the offside. Stuart Broad will field out there in the colours, and there's no run. Final ball of Moeen Ali's 7th over. His final one of the day. There's one left after this one. And Moeen will go in. Pujara comes down the pitch, padding it away. Ben Folkes half an appeal, but nothing doing on that occasion. End of the over. Moeen has 0 for 19 from his 7. India 53 for 1 in their second innings, so lead by 248. Darren Goff.
I think what we'll say is, but Jack Leach actually and Moeen Ali, I think, have both started really well this innings. I think they've both bowled a nice line. They've both turned the ball. They've got conditions to bowl in, but for confidence leading forward in the series with 2 tests to follow this one, I think it's important, but they get into some kind of rhythm. We talked with Gareth Batty earlier on about a spinner sometimes needs to bowl overs to get into a rhythm, and I think it's important that Moeen and Jack Leach get some overs under their belt, and I think definitely would say Jack Leach has bowled better this test match than the last one, so that's a huge positive. And I think Moeen Ali has started well in the second innings after not playing for a while, so I think it's important that these two get some rhythm and get some miles in the legs into that third test match and hopefully pick up some wickets.
It is officially 24 minutes past 4 in Chennai, with the close of play due to be at 4:30. England are having a very long conversation with Joe Root, Stuart Broad and Jack Leach discussing matters, just to make sure that this is the final over of the day.
We'll bring Brodie on for 1 over, that'll last 4 minutes.
That'll cheer him up now.
Well, he's had an amazing test match, hasn't he? I mean, number 2 ranked bowler in the world is... what did he bowl in the first innings? 7 overs?
11 overs.
11 overs. No wickets.
And in terms of batting, 2 deliveries.
Exactly. It's been a strange one. The captain's gone for Stone rather than the guy who's got over 500 test wickets.
Probably still needs to be rested for the next game, though, yeah?
Well, listen, if he doesn't bowl much tomorrow, let's be realistic about it. It'd be interesting selection for the third test, won't it?
In-game rest he's basically getting at the moment, isn't he?
That's taking it to a whole new level, isn't it? Right, we've still not had a ball of this over yet. So what have England come up with? Ben Stokes is still at slip. There is a silly point as Leach prepares to bowl to Rohit Sharma. Left arm around he goes, and Rohit comes forward and just pushes it to Ollie Pope, the man at silly point, and there is no run. England have used 3 bowlers in the innings. Stone, Leach, Moeen Ali. Stuart Broad hasn't had a go yet. In goes Leach. Little shimmy from Rohit to come down and meet that one. Pushes out on the onside, and there is no run.
It's good from Jack Leach, this. Good pace, firing it in to Rohit. Can't get down to him, can't use his feet.
There's just a little bit of conversation going in, and Rohit Sharma, as he was about to get into his stance, just backed away and smiled, as if to say, "You're not going to put me off. I'll just take all the time I want." He stands in now, and Leach goes in and bowls, and Rohit Sharma just comes forward and defends no run.
Yeah, he's got 3 men in around the bat now. A slip, a gully, and a silly point. Just trying to take one with him. 53 for 1 India on TalkSport 2.
The man who got 161 in the first innings has 24 in the second. That'll go up to 25. Stuart Broad makes an appearance. Congratulations, Stuart. A little tumbling fielding at mid-on. He is still out there. It's a single taken to Rohit. He goes to 25. India 54 for 1. They lead by 249.
Well, he's got the thanks for coming award at the minute, Brodie. Not done much in the game, has he? 11 overs. Not with a bat.
If he played at my club, he guaranteed to be on duty to go and get the flags in at the end of the day, round the boundary.
Extra work.
One of them, absolutely. Definitely a TFC job. Pujara, 2 balls left in the day, and he's playing this one off the back foot from Jack Leach. Pushed up on the onside, and there is no run. So 1 ball left of the overs. India resuming. 300 for 6, bowled out for 329. England then skittled out for 134 in 59 overs and 5 balls. There's 1 ball left in the day, and guess what? Someone's moving behind the bowler's arm. They've had all day. Pujara spots it. Just says to Jack Leach, can he hold on? Everything is now in place, and Leach can go in for the final ball of his 9th over. Now Leach has realised he's standing on the wrong mark, gets back onto his spot, and will come in. Left arm around the wicket, and it takes the middle of Pujara's bat, plays it out on the onside. The batsmen look at each other, walk down to have a little chat, and that will do it for day 2 of this test match. India are 54 for 1 after 18 overs of their second innings. The lead is 249. Rohit Sharma is 25 not out from 62 balls faced. Pujara's got 7 from 18. The wicket taker for England, Jack Leach, who got Shubman Gill LBW for 14. That was 42 for 1 in the 12th over. Jared Kimber.
If that is not enough cricket for you, if anyone out there wants to follow the West Indies-Bangladesh game, they're about to play another classic game. The final wicket partnership now is, I think, up to, it must be 20 or 30 runs. Bangladesh need 18 runs with 1 wicket in hand to win. And it could be an absolute classic after their last absolute classic a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it seems that every match of that series is an absolute classic at the moment. But anyway, Matt Pryor, just some quick thoughts from you at the end of that day.
Tough day for England, that's for sure. Very, very good day for India. England are, well, I don't know how they come back from this, and if they do, they'll have to dust themselves down this evening and find a way to come out tomorrow and find something. I think it will be really important for the spinners in particular to take something from this game, find a rhythm, find a way, find a pace of bowling. But England far, far, far behind the 8 ball here.